Je suis ici sur le plateau du Boss Brothers TV, SepelaTV. Donc, juste vous informer, good news, on est sur l'espace. On a l'embarras, la salle à casse, on a l'espace, c'est juste primo abordable. 25 000, aïe aïe aïe, il y a beaucoup de pour je paye toute une année, comme ça tu seras libre. Ma pasteur, ma musicien, on a pour ça, banda show, pas pour la balance, un message, sentez-vous libre, contactez-moi sur le numéro isolé ou bien sur notre page et Facebook de Boss Brothers, le bienvenu. Et même de quoi va faire la YouTube channel, sur le studio la mission pour promouvoir le Konao. Filmer, je vous dis la vérité, vraiment on a foutu à studio, c'est pas dans ce prix, 20 livres seulement. Imagine 20 livres, on voit combien d'espace dans le show et puis on tient à YouTube. Donc, vous avez le bienvenu. Contactez-nous sur le Boss Brothers et sur Facebook. Que Dieu vous bénisse.
D'ici 2 semaines, ceux qui vont résister, je veux frapper. Je vous préviens, je veux frapper. D'ici 2 semaines et demie, je leur donne 2 semaines et demie. Benga qui vient de l'Iquaou. Après 2 semaines et demie, je n'entendrai plus rien. J'ordonnerai au chérubin de frapper. C'est tout. Mais j'ai demandé à la Belgique, à la France et aux États-Unis de venir retirer leur e-politique en Amérique. Quant à vous, peuple congolais, je sais que vous êtes trois.
However, I will be giving replacement names so it's easier for everyone to get on with the story with me. So now, this is a story about a young female called Abigail. Abigail, today she's 24 years old. However, this happened, her story begins when she was back home in Africa. Now, being in Africa, she was living with her grandmother and her mum. And she was also living with her sister. And at the time, there was just 2 of them, their mother, their grandmother, and they were all living in one house. Now, the mother of Abigail's name is Justine, and her sister's name is Rebecca. Now, in this story, Justine and Rebecca and Abigail, as you know, are all back home. So their mother, Justine, she actually was raised there. She had a hard time in her youth, and she had a lot of issues, and obviously their father, the person, the man who married Justine, had passed away, which was Abigail's dad, and so she had to now think of a decision of how to move down to Europe in order to make money. And obviously with a lot of our parents, we always have parents who are coming from back home into this country to search for money. Now, continuing from that, so Justine finally moves over to the UK, and she leaves her 2 daughters, Rebecca and Abigail, with her mother. And Justine obviously had a hard time. She's lost her husband, and in fact she's also lost her father, and she's now trying to make it as she's working in order to bring her 2 daughters over to London. Now, back home, where Abigail and Rebecca are, you see that, you know, they're growing up, they're right, they're fine, they're growing up as young children, they're enjoying themselves, they're being taken care of. And finally, Justine brings over her children, and they're now living in a 2-bedroom flat. 2-bedroom flat, and it's crammed, and the 2-bedroom flat they're living in is with their cousins. So there's 2 families living in a 2-bedroom flat, sharing rooms, and it was a struggle. It was a serious struggle for Abigail. Obviously, now being raised and your mum's only just making minimum wage, and you know, you're growing up with your sister, and you know, you're trying to get through life. It's not easy, and especially in these days for single mums, it is never an easy job. However, they've been able to pull it off, and they finally move into their own new home. As soon as they move into their new home, Justine now gets a husband, and her husband's now back home, and Abigail and Rebecca are now in the UK on their own, and these times they're in secondary school. A lot of issues was traversing with Abigail, because Abigail had a lot of issues, and issues meaning the fact that, one, she never had a father figure. Her mum's not around as much as she was before. Her mum's in and out of the country, and Rebecca's now having to be Abigail's mum. Obviously Rebecca's older, so
she's having to now take care of Abigail. Now, over the course that Abigail is going to secondary school, she traverses a lot of issues, in the sense of she had a lot of anger issues because of incidents that were traversing her life. Her mum's not around, she doesn't get what she wants, she's going just through that. Unfortunately, over the course of time, as Justine has been traveling back and forth from the UK to Africa, Rebecca now has fallen with a serious illness, which doesn't help Abigail, because now Abigail's like, you know, I need Rebecca. Rebecca's my mom, and I really appreciate her. I know Justine's my real, like, my biological mom, but Rebecca's basically my mom because she's my older sister. So now Abigail is now struggling with the fact that her sister's got a cancer. She's dying. Her mum's not in the country. They've stayed inside of them. They've been at home on their own. This caused Abigail to actually be really frustrated, anger in school, questioning her belief, questioning if there's actually anyone there for her, asking, you know, will anyone help her? Is there any way that she can, you know, get any advice, any help from anywhere? So Abigail's going through a lot of that, and she doesn't know who to speak to, and Rebecca understands her. However, Rebecca's down on the inside. She can't do anything. She's literally managing the house. As a couple of years go by, you know, they reach 14, 15, well, I'll say 2 years go by, 16. Justine comes back and she's pregnant, and obviously they've got a new sibling in the house, and they're on their way, and she's now pregnant, and she actually gives birth to a beautiful baby girl, and the child is now being raised in the house. And obviously eventually Justine has to go back to go see her husband back home, and she goes back to see her husband back home, and and she's left the young child with Rebecca and Justine. Over the course of the time, it's become even difficult for the two girls, Abigail and Rebecca, because they're now having to look after their new, you know, young baby sister, and they also are having to take care of the household bills as well as going to school. And when I mean school, I don't mean college, university. At least at that age you'll know what you're doing. I'm talking about secondary school. They're both quite young, so they're taking care of their siblings. And another year goes by again, and Justine comes back and she's pregnant again with another baby, and this time it's a baby boy, and they give birth. She gives birth, and the birth was okay and it was fine. The pressure increases for the two girls because Rebecca is still dying. The mother is aware, Justine's aware, but she's still kind of continuing life, and just doing what she has to do. So time continues, and as it continues, the girls unfortunately have their mum go away, and they're at home taking care of their two younger siblings, and they're having to educate themselves, having to pay bills. The pressure is so unreal in the house. Now we get to a point where now Abigail's behavior gets even worse. It got to a point where when Justine came back from Africa to the UK, and she was staying over, Abigail's anger management got to a point where social services had to actually get involved. And they had to get involved because Abigail was going on a rant. She was not staying at home. Late hours of the night she'll be coming back. She was not willing to listen to anyone or to do anything, and this raised an alarm because, you know, her siblings are in that house who are much younger than her, and she's behaving like this. So social services did get involved, and they had to question the mother's responsibility. Now in this time, Abigail and Justine are clashing, and Rebecca can no longer physically walk around, and she cannot physically move anymore. She's actually in the position where she's almost in a vegetable state, and she needs assistance to help her eat, to help her move around the house. And she can't bathe herself, she can't wash herself, she can't feed herself, she can't do nothing. She absolutely cannot do anything that she could have done. And obviously being at a fairly young age, it's not easy to accept that. So over the course of the time that now Justine sees that Rebecca's at a really, really bad state, she stays and she can't go back. And one of the reasons why she can't go back is because, one, her relationship back home has started to go terrible. Her husband and her are not getting along, and things just started to go downhill for Justine. On top of that, her daughter's dying, so she knew that she had to take up the responsibility as any mother to stay with her sick daughter. As she's staying with her daughter, she now gets to a point where she doesn't know what to do as a mum. And Abigail, her condition just gets worse in the sense of her behavioral conditions. She's watching her sister die. She also has to be a mother because her mum's also working full time. So whenever her mum's not home, she has to be home. But this doesn't help her because she feels like she's alone. So Rebecca's unfortunately fading away, and she's just not getting any better, and she's just literally fading completely away. And Abigail's questioning, you know, where's God? Where's help? Why am I not getting the necessary help that I need to get? Why is it that nobody can see what's happening to me? What is going on? And years go by, and Rebecca's just dying, and literally there's nothing to help her. Nothing, no cure, no chemotherapy, no antibiotics. Nothing has actually assisted her in any way. And unfortunately, she passes away, which is now like the big thing inside Abigail's life. And Abigail's just torn completely. And she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't have anyone to explain the situation. Her sister's passed away. On the day of Rebecca's burial, her family and friends came together, and they were burying her, but those that she really desired to be there, that she felt that were really important part of her life, friends who were meant to actually be there to support, didn't attend. They weren't there to assist her. They weren't there even to send her condolences. They didn't even come. They didn't show up. They actually stopped talking to her. And Abigail just went through a series of depression. So much depression, because she's lost who was her mother figure. Her and her mum's relationship has gone downhill. She now has to take up the responsibility of what her sister was doing, and she doesn't really have anyone to speak to about her problems, about her situations, what she wants to do, where she's gonna go. And so Abigail just questions so many things. She began to ask, you know, what's the point of living? She questioned if she should even be living. She wanted to kill herself on many occasions because she felt like, why wasn't there anything to stop this? Why couldn't anything stop this? You know, could I have taken her place? I wish I'd taken her place instead of her to go. She was amazing. She was a beautiful person, and she knew everything about Abigail. And so time goes by, and she's still trying to strive. She's still trying to complete in her education just to make Rebecca proud, because Rebecca's now passed away. She's gone, unfortunately. So she's doing the best that she can at college to make it through, because in the time that Rebecca passed away, Abigail was actually now 18, and she now wanted to pursue something that will make Rebecca proud, something that will make her feel good. And she now sits down and she's like, okay, I need to do something with myself. I need to go back to school. I need to finish my education. I need to strive. You know, I need to make Rebecca proud. If she was here, she would be proud of me if I was in school. She'd be proud of me if I did something with myself. So over the course of her going back to education, her mother now is seeing somebody else, and she's just invited this person right into the house. And without the consent of Abigail, without the consent of her younger siblings, she's just brought this man into the house. And over this time and period, the man's now staying in the house. And so her and her mum are now clashing, and they're clashing so much because of this man living in the house. She doesn't know who this man is. She doesn't know where he's from, what he does, or nothing. She's just seeing a man in this house. And she questions her mum, and she's like, Mum, you've just brought a man into the house. You know, she's questioned Justine, and she's like, you just brought a man to the house without our consent. We don't know what he does. We don't know where he's from. You know, you need to be so careful. You know, I'm getting to an age where I'm growing up now. Tomorrow I can be in a relationship. I can be a mother, and I need your support. But you just brought a man here, and we don't know him, and I need help. So Abigail finally opens up to her mum about the situation, and it just caused even more fire. And as she tries to explain it, it just doesn't work. They just keep backlashing. They keep arguing. So Abigail goes and she tries to ask her family members, you know, speak to my mom, speak to her. There's a man in the house. We don't know him. You know, we're only getting to know him. And we don't know if she's still with the man, her husband from back home, whom we haven't even met. What is going on? Why, like, you know, speak to her. So as Abigail reaches out to some of her family members, they sit down Justine and try to explain it to her, but Justine doesn't care. She says, no, I want to live my life. I want to have a partner. I don't need the consultation of my children to tell me whether or not I should be in a relationship. So she just doesn't care at all. And Abigail goes through even more severe depression, and she's just beginning to lose weight. She's losing hair now. She goes through a point where she quits education completely, and now she's on a mission to leave. She doesn't want to stay in the house no more, and she doesn't want to speak to anybody anymore. She's gone to different family members, different people, to question how she can get help, how things can change at home, but nothing has been a solution, and Justine hasn't made it easier. So this was the issue that had been transversing in the house, and like it's something that's really deep, really deep, and I don't even know how to express the pain in which I could feel for Abigail. Now, I'm coming to a point where, thank you, one, for letting me know your story, and thank you for confiding in me. That is a very big step you've taken, and I believe that opening up and speaking to someone is the first step to your healing, the first step to overcoming that. And I do believe that I'm here just to assist you with that. Now, in regards to what you're going through, I'm very sure there are other young people who are going through a similar situation, and it's very deep. One, to have lost your sister. Two, to have issues with your mum. Three, you've never had a father figure, and now you have a man living in the house. So you're in a position where you don't know what to do. You don't even really have advice on how to be or to live with a man, and that's a bit much. But there's always a solution, and there's always a way out. So something I'd recommend for you to do is, one, many of us want to move out of our homes and want to leave, especially when times are really hitting hard. My recommendation to you is that, trust me, stay there. Because the people that suffer, especially you being the mother figure inside of the house, is your younger siblings. So I suggest you just stick it out. Stay in the house. There is definitely a way, and there are people out there such as myself who are willing to help you, willing to come in, willing to advise you and assist you. Two, don't stop on your goals and your dreams. Don't do that. Go back. If it's studying you have to do, keep yourself occupied. The moment you stop finding something or pursuing your purpose, pursuing your destiny, that's the moment you will face even deeper depression. That's the moment you'll face even deeper, you'll feel like there's something, you know, a weight on your shoulder. You feel like you can't move, and that's what's going to set you right back. So have something, have a goal to keep you consistent. And as for your mom, keep talking to her, but change the strategy in which you talk to her. I believe in the concept of how you want the person to receive you is how you must treat them. And so keep treating her nicely. It is something that's going to require so much patience from you. But trust me, in every circumstance, it makes you a better person if you are able to override it with the way you act. Now, you being in a position where you can go back to university, you can go back to college, you can pursue a career, will educate something in your mother, and it will tell her to, you know, that, okay, my daughter's really growing up. She's now bringing provision. She's now pushing forward. It will make her reason and question and think, wow, I need to do something with myself. And I need to make sure that she's all right, because she's cared for the children. She's cared for me, in fact. She's covered my bills when I wasn't here. And these are the things that she will start to think of. And I do believe in the strong concept of action speaks louder than word. And whoever you are believing in, that higher creator, that being, I suggest don't stop. Because I do believe that there is somebody out there listening to you who is above everything, above every situation. And that's someone I would suggest you just keep going and keep pressing. Don't question it. Trust me, don't question it. So these are the things that I would suggest to you. And literally my condolences to your sibling who passed away. It is not easy losing a sibling, especially if they were a mother figure, especially if there was someone who was so deep into your, deep in your life. I'm telling you, you know, condolences, but I must congratulate you for your courage and just the fact that you have been able to even come out and to open up. And remember, you have done so much for others who are watching, others who want somebody to speak on their behalf. So I want to just say thank you so much, and I'm hoping that the tips and advice I've given you has been something that you will take on board. If you do need any more and you do need something, you know, to uplift you, please do not hesitate to keep on contacting. So thank you very much for you know, for tuning in today. This was the story that I had to share with you on the young lady of Abigail, who was suffering with so much depression. And I'm very, very thankful that you tuned in, and I'm hoping that I can see you next week. So I'm here to encourage, empower and elevate you. And if you have a story and you feel that the need to share, and you feel that there's somebody that you need to speak to, please don't hesitate. Just contact me on accompaniedbyjess@gmail.com, and I will definitely be there to listen to your story. So thank you very much.
Salut, c'est Nissa Leslie, l'animatrice de l'émission 100% grâce. Boula Mwanzambi Ele qui tellement éveillé. Je suis ici sur le plateau du Boss Brothers TV, SepelaTV. Donc juste vous informer, good news et chez Bino. On est sur l'espace. On a l'ambra bien, la salle à cassou qui bien. On a l'espace, c'est juste prix abordable. 25 livres. Aïe aïe aïe, il y a beaucoup de foot pour n'engager.